isn't necessarily a great workhorse, but he certainly seemed to go.
He does what his company does,
Okay.
and I didn't. And Casa Creed worked a little too good this morning. You know what I mean? I guess were the other times fast this morning.
Yeah, but I still think Shading 47 was pretty impressive
Yeah.
for those horses, even on
Yeah.
fast track. No.
They both, my riders swear they were both in hand. You know, neither can, you know what I mean? And they've been the same two horses and the same work riders working week after week, and they felt like they were going good. But the track's faster. You know, they skip over it a lot better than, you know, they have to, like Saratoga training track, they'd have to work a little harder on it, you know.
With Casa Creed, what gives you some? What could make this Breeders' Cup different for him than some of the previous?
Well, it's all, you know, turf is all about the trip and pace and position. You know what I mean? It's a lot about the trip. I mean, we think he's a pretty good horse, you know, which we've seen. You know, you've got to have the golden trip. You've got to have the golden trip. You know what I mean? You got to get lucky. I mean, because everybody in there is a nice horse. You know what I mean? There's, you know, probably half the horses in there could win. You know,
But you'll have firm ground. Is that something?
I think he's always appreciated firm ground.
And as far as from that 4-star Dave giving him that freshening, how much do you think that has helped him?
Well, he runs well fresh. I mean, we that was on purpose, and he's always run well fresh, and that's why, you know what I mean. We've been working him in company, and because we've got 3 months in between, you know what I mean. So having some decent solid works is probably necessary. You know, when you've got that much time in between races, you need to crank on him a little harder, I suppose.
How do you feel Elite Power, the same kind of deal? Elite Power kind of gave him the same kind of schedule. Maybe 2 weeks different. Maybe 2 weeks difference because you ran.
Yeah. I mean, I think he wasn't quite as far apart, but you know, we've got some decent works in him too. It's good to see them both work good as long as they come out and, you know, they're not tired out from it. If they bounce back, we'll see in the next couple days. You know, they both came off the track well and looked good afterwards. So we'll see how they eat up and
Do you feel as confident about him this year as maybe you did last year?
Who?
Elite Power. Did you feel confident?
I don't have any lack of confidence in him. I mean, I'm not, you know, look, it's a horse race. I know we got to go over there and they got to do it and have a good trip. But I have no reason to believe he's not as good as he was last year.
No discouragement off the defeat last time. No, not discouraged by the defeat. Disappointed, but not discouraged.
You know, you can make a lot of excuses. If you know, you look at the last one, okay, why did he get beat? Well, there was a lack of pace. You know, there was not a good pace. It was 7/8 of a mile. He tried to come up the inside. I mean, and he was coming off a huge race the time before. Maybe he did the bounce thing, you know what I mean? Which they were coming back in 4 or 5 weeks, I think. So he had run a huge race to beat that horse the time before.
Right.
I mean, he got on his belly, you know what I mean? I mean, it was probably one of the most impressive races I saw at Saratoga. I mean, there was a lot of good races in Saratoga,
right,
mind you, but I was impressed with the internal fortitude that he showed, you know. Huh, do you like that?
So what can you say about Cody's work today?
Looked smooth as glass on the bridle.
You expect that from him, don't you?
Could, yeah. I was just happy that he didn't go faster. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Neil had him, I'd say, just right. You know, I mean, and I know Neil was worried because the previous set, you know, when they worked Elite Power, they went a little quicker than, you know, I would have been happy with the 48 on Elite Power. I would have been happy with 49, you know, and they just worked faster than what we anticipated. Mm-hmm. But they did it on, you know, with Elite Power and Casa Creed, they did it on the bridle, and Cody's Wish did it on the bridle. I mean, it looked like he just, you know, maybe passing the 8th pole, he just released his hold, just took his hand off the brake a little bit, and you know what I mean? He finished up good and galloped out good.
Warlike Goddess's work.
Beautiful. Poetry in motion.
You expect that from her too, don't you? After
Yeah, I mean, but she works on the dirt. You know, she works
Yeah.
in 49, 50. That's all we want. I mean, you could see the rider was just letting her do it, and you know, they get a lot out of working on the dirt. You know, conditioning wise, I'm not. You know, she's fit enough, and I just want to let her breeze and get that out of her system, and you know, we'll prepare for the race.
Is this a more? I don't know how much you've looked at it, but it seemed like it might be more challenging this year than even last year on the turf.
I think so, you know what I mean? And of course, I looked at it. You say, you know, we want to go against the boy on the mile and a half. We're going in that race because we get the mile and a half. And I guess I don't want to take too much time studying the filly and mare turf because I don't want to have any second thoughts about it, you know, our decision. But I think the mile and a half, you know what I mean? I think we've been beaten at a mile and 3/16 and a mile and a quarter before. I think I'd just soon go a mile and a half.
So with the distance,
Take her best.
Take your shot with.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
her
it's
last
a good,
race-
that's a top group of, huh?
Her last race was run where this is runaway train on the front end there, and you had to reel it in.
It was very impressive. Soft ground, different ground than we're going to get here. And
Right.
she does well on soft ground. She does well on any ground, but she does well on soft ground. So, you know, hopefully she'll like that.